WordPress and Tumblr have decided to join Reddit. Remember we talked about Reddit last week, selling all of the data that they have, that we've provided to them, that they own, and they're selling for $60 million. Well, WordPress and Tumblr have now joined this group of companies. So they're both owned by a company called Automatic. They are basically set to sell all of their users' data to OpenAI and Midjourney. So the company's been named this time, both companies. I'm guessing Tumblr's going to Midjourney because it's more image-based, and that the WordPress is going to be used more for the articles that people have written, and that's going to go to OpenAI, I would guess. It's going to be used to train AI models. Here's the issue, though, and the reason that we're talking about the story is because in their first batch of data that they provided, they weren't so good about scrubbing it. They provided basically everything, apparently, including private posts, deleted and suspended posts, unanswered questions, private answers, posts marked explicit, and content from premium partner blogs, like apparently an Apple blog that they weren't supposed to include, and they don't apparently have the rights to distribute back to OpenAI and Midjourney. Their statement says, this is their official quote, "We will share only public content that's hosted on WordPress.com and Tumblr from sites that haven't opted out." So that tells us there is going to be an ability, if you have a WordPress blog or a Tumblr site, to opt out of this. And they're saying that you can either start this from the get-go, you can opt out right now, or at any point in the future, you can retroactively opt out, and they will remove that information from the training model.
How does it unlearn something?
Here's the thing. Here's the way
forget it.
100% agree. And here's the way they worded it. They said that they will ask, in quotes, and in quotes, advocate for their removal. And the company's AI boss believes, in quotes again, that the AI companies will find it in their best interest to comply. They're basically saying, we're not going to tell them, like, if you opt out on our end, we're going to tell them, like, hey, you should, like, remove that data. And they're going to say, sure. It's never going to happen. This is absolute just the gift. BS. Sure, Jan. Exactly. This is absolute BS. There's no way they're going to retrain a model after you opt out. Imagine that on a case-by-case basis. It's ridiculous.
Nightmare.
So Bobby, any concerns over your Tumblr account being used to train Midjourney, or your secret Marvel WordPress blog being used to train ChatGPT?
Yep. Here's the thing that I read about. First off, when I looked at Tumblr, and I'm not on Tumblr. I didn't know what Tumblr was really until this morning.
Come on, we know you have that secret Marvel Tumblr. It's fine. You can admit it here.
And then I asked Kevin, what is Tumblr for? And he goes, it's just for memes. And I'm like, oh, so now Midjourney is just going to make a meme generator. I guess that's where this AI is going to go.
Just a meme generator.
Take over the world, meme generator. Which is more likely? Meme generator. I think so.
There's no in between.
Yeah. But the thing that struck me odd was WordPress. Like, so WordPress, you can build websites, you can build blogs or whatever. And apparently if I build a WordPress site, I would say, even though if I'm hosting it there, I feel like I own that data. That's my website.
That's not included in this. WordPress.com is the WordPress hosted sites. If you're self-hosted, that's technically WordPress.org.
Yeah.
So it would not be included if you're self-hosted.
Which is funny because it's publicly available, so that's already been scraped. So don't worry.
Exactly.
Which is true too.
This is to me. This is basically like, how can we get bunch of money by doing nothing? It's like low hanging fruit for them. They're like, oh,
we're doing it anyway,
because they already know. Yeah. OpenAI already scraped the data, so that's probably like way to avoid like going to the lawsuit and litigation. They're like, listen, we're gonna sell our data. They're gonna give us some money. So it's like. It's basically, like do the thing and then apologize later. And so OpenAI, like they scraped everything and they're like, no, that they could sue us, but it's going to be a lot of like headaches. Nobody wants to do that. So they'll retrospectively be like, or they'll just be like, hey, let's just make an agreement that you could use our data and you just pay us money. And they make these settlements. And so now everything's okay. Like, who cares that they took all that data publicly, because we now allow them to have that data and make money. And it's crazy. And so I feel bad for all the people because like, I'm sure like opt out is going to be like a button on page 20. In, like, a small
notice it is an opt out, not an opt in, by the way, which tells you by default, if you create a blog on WordPress.com, it's going to be 7 menus deep that's opt out of like sending your data, and it's going to be obfuscated in a way that's like, it's not going to say, do you want to opt out of sending your data to OpenAI? No, it's going to say some legal jargon that most people aren't going to understand, and they're just not going to know, and they're never going to click it, and you're automatically opted in. I think it's wrong.
I think it really hurts the ransomware people, because now they're saying, hey, we're going to steal your data. And you're like, bro, it's already gone. Man. So.
True.
Dude,
I've already
that
sold
stuff
it to
is
OpenAI.
gone
I took it a long
ago.
time ago.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the
There's
fact
nothing
that
left to steal.
it's like it's content created by the people that use those platforms, but the people that own those platforms benefit from it.
Yeah, to Bobby's point though, doesn't this one feel a little bit different than the Reddit one? So the Reddit one, you kind of create a post there, right? It's generally the content there, while sometimes is detailed and whatever, it feels like it's more ad hoc, right? WordPress is a if you have a WordPress.com blog, right, it is a collection of your thoughts or posts or whatever you're doing. So if you have a Taylor Swift blog on WordPress, you're basically just giving all that information away. You're giving it all away to them to now resell on. It just feels different than the Reddit one.
Yeah, I think if you make a website and you go through the efforts of making the website, you own the intellectual property of that website. And apparently I'm wrong about that. So if you went to another host like Netlify or Railway or something like that, and you push your stuff up there, can they just sell the data off? I mean, like, and then some of it was marked private, which means it's behind a paywall maybe, or it's in a database or whatever. They just took it and sold it. And I just don't think that's right. Social media, I understand. You're joining the collective of a whole conversation.
Right.
But, if I made a Blazor blog and it had I got 1 million views on a blog about authentication or whatever, I would want that to be my information that I made, regardless of where I hosted it at. I think you're paying to have it hosted, not giving them the right to the data.
It's the same argument that the actual that publications have, right? That the New York Times has against them. It's just because I'm an individual, it shouldn't make any difference. The New York Times is also saying they scraped all our information and like reused it. Well, it's the same thing for me. I'm just Joe here, and I'm like, you're scraping all my information, and everybody. It's as a collective. But without it, it's absolutely nothing. Without the training data, they have nothing.
Right. And I don't think we should allow these companies to get away with it. They should have to pay for it.
And the only way I would think, and again, I don't think that should be, but in any way, the only way they should work is whenever I do something in ChatGPT, it should have a reference to original material that it was based on, 100%. That's the bare minimum.
Agree.
The bare minimum.
Yep.
And I think at some point, they should be some sort of payout to the folks that created the content.
That's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
This is never going to trickle down. The only people making money here are Automatic.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Reddit.
And Reddit.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
But yeah, they do violate intellectual property and content and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if you had paywalls on these, if you're still getting paid. I mean, they're scraping Medium. I guess they have probably.
I would assume they have. Yeah.
I assume, I think maybe I think it was Bobby. Yeah. The data's already gone. They have scraped everything on the internet already. And now they're retroactively paying for it.
I just wonder if Taylor Swift blog owner is ever going to be in a position to say, I can sue OpenAI because they stole my property. I just don't know if that's ever going to come, because the bigger media outlets have done it, right? So can an average person do it, or do we see some kind of weird class action or something from this?
I've said this from the beginning. This is going to be the tobacco suits all over again. This is going to be, as soon as they feel like there's money and blood in the water, 40 lawyers will get together to make $100 million.
And then the only people that make money are the lawyers.
Yeah. So I was going to say, here's an interesting thought. It's as if it's blog posts hosted on WordPress, and any author, they could share whatever they want, and they could be writing blog posts of stuff where they're discussing maybe copyright material, books, or whatever. So how does that work? It's you could have a blog which basically regurgitates some paid material source. You just reward it differently, and then that gets scraped by AI, and now that's in the database. It's it's where's the line?
Yeah. And again, we were talking about with the Reddit stuff, what is truth? I have a blog hosted on WordPress, and I'm spouting off super crazy conspiracy theories, and then ChatGPT is like talking about it like it's truth, you know, that
right.
Who is like taking charge of the like factualness of what's in the data set?
What's interesting, I don't know if you heard the drama between Gemini, like Google thing, like their AI generate stuff. It's so biased that when somebody asks to generate Nazis, it generate them like multicultural.
Right.
And it's
well, they pulled it back.
Like,
he said they're working around the clock to fix it. So
yeah.
I don't know how that got past the red team. I mean, I just don't understand. Like,
because we know, because that's the thing though. How many things can you test for? Like, it's almost infinite, right? There are infinite offensive things. like, you know, there really are. You think that one would be up there, but then you're like, there's 100 other things you could think of that are also equally as offensive. That how much time do you like red team test it? That's why this stuff comes out in public, and that's why we see it. And then they're relying on guess who to test it.
Yeah, us.
We're testing it.